and welcome to your Parent and Kids October 2022 astrology forecast, where I'm going to be looking at the energy that we've just experienced with this new moon on September 25th, and how with this autumn equinox energy, this is springboarding us forward into October and into eclipse season. What is coming? How can you better meet these energies as a parent? A lot of astrologers, myself included, we focus on the adults, but being a parent myself, I find that knowing the astrology and looking at it through the lens of being a parent, through the lens of my children, really makes a huge difference in our daily lives together. And so I wanted to share this with you, with what's coming, and oh wow, it is a lot. My name is Chrissy Whistler. I am an intuitive, I'm an astrologer, and as I said, I'm also a parent of two magical, multi-dimensional kids. So if you are struggling right now, or your children are struggling, please reach out. Know that you're not alone. In fact, go ahead and leave a comment in this video and let us in this space see you. And let us be able to hold you with whatever you and your children may be going through at this time. And I do offer birth chart readings. So if your child is really struggling right now and you want to understand why and why these energies are affecting them in the way that they are, maybe they have these psychic tentacles who can really pick up on people's unconscious. And that can be really overwhelming right now at this moment in time for those with that kind of sensitivities. Those are the kind of things that birth chart readings can really reveal for us, and how we can better meet and support our kids in the exact ways that they need. So you'll find all that information in the description below to my website. There's a link, chrissywhistler.com. And please like and subscribe. Share this message to other parents who are like you, who are ready to really change and transform their life, the relationship that you're having with your children. If you're finding that the old ways of doing things aren't working, but you don't know what those new ways are yet, this is the perfect channel for you to be at, because that is exactly what I love to explore and get curious about. All right, so let us dive into the astrology, parents, and what you might be expecting. So, as I said, this video, we're really going to focus on being a parent and a caregiver, and for our kids. So that's going to be the lens where I'm looking at this astrology. If you want a video that does more focused on what the heck's going on in our world, you know, bigger, wider world perspective, I do have another video of that, so check that out. You'll find that in the link below. So I want to really highlight for you, you and your children, especially if they're very sensitive, might be feeling this building tension, this sense that something is coming. And if so, you are not wrong. Your sensitivities, your unconscious, it's picking up on this energy that's in the collective. There's a lot going on. The big transit of this year of 2022 is between Uranus and Saturn, and they've been square, okay? And we are coming into the last hard just square between those, where it's going to be exact on October 4th, and then we're moving into eclipse season. So we as a whole collective are going to be having this review, this remembering of the past, this resurfacing of our shadows. That's the south node of the moon being in Scorpio. This is everything that's been swept under the rug. Scorpio is mystery, death, rebirth, transformation, the occult. Scorpio wants us to go far beyond our comfort zones so we can become our own catalyst for change. So that is the theme that our world is in, and we're going to be really hitting these energies with this eclipse in the end of October. So these energies, okay, they're with us. They will be for the next few months and into the next year. We're in a real, this demolition, we'll say, phase of our collective humanity, our collective experience, how we've been doing things for thousands of years. It's changing as we move into this age of Aquarius, and we're leaving the distorted Pisces behind and coming into something new. Now, I took a moment to share that with you because for your children who are sensitive, and I guess I could even say, what do I mean by sensitive? These are the kids who can really struggle. What feelings are mine? What feelings are yours? What are the feelings from Susie Q 20 blocks away? Sensitive kids. They can feel this, they can feel it in the air, like a crackling. You might have children where you look at them and you're like, wow, you're sparking. Like you can practically see little sparks of energy coming off them as they're swirling around like in a big tornado, trying to dispel what they are feeling in their body, and they can't quite get it. These kids can, they can go to environments like schools where you've got 20, 25 kids in a classroom with posters covering every inch of the wall, big, bright, brilliant, loud posters. On top of it, then you have all the kids. And I don't know about you, but kids generally aren't quiet, especially when they are inside. And again, that energy and the emotions feeding off of each other. For our sensitive kids, that can be like 25 people screaming into their ears with megaphones. So that's kind of a little bit, like that's a snippet of what I mean by sensitive kids. So if you have a child like this, I would love to know, please leave a comment below. How do your children's sensitivities show themselves? Do they have those kind of experiences? Maybe large family gatherings or maybe at school. Those kinds of children, and it doesn't even have to be the extremely sensitive kinds. Truly, our kids are very intuitive and they know so much more than they are verbally telling us. So they're going to be picking up on these energies. And some of your kids might even be feeling what's coming before you do. So my initial advice, and I'm going to talk about this more as we get into these energies, but be gentle right now. Be very mindful in your interactions with your kids, the kids that are around you in your life. This can be very confusing, very fearful time for them because things are changing. This old that's not working, this distortion, it's crumbling away. And I don't know about you, but certainly for me as a parent, like my sense of safety and security has definitely been put to the test these few years, and it's going to continue. So this isn't about like hiding how you feel from your kids, but really be mindful. Be truthful. If they ask you what's wrong, tell them. And of course, tell them in a way that's appropriate for the child that you have and their age. But this is not the time to sweep things under the rug, to put our superhero cape on and say, we can do anything. I'm super mom. I'm going to show up and meet this and I'm totally fine. Like, This is the time for transforming that. This is the time to be vulnerable, to cry. And as you do, however that comes up for you, you are teaching your children how they can move through difficult moments in time. Like, you will become a real model for them, to let them witness you going through this, and to sit with very hard, difficult emotions, feelings, moments. Feel it. Don't hide it. Don't pretend it's not existing. Let them see. They will learn so much. They really will. Clearing energy. I could feel that coming on. So those are overall, like, overarching energies. And again, I'll get more into specifics of that in just a little bit. But I wanted to back up a second and just chat with you briefly about this new moon that we just had on September 25th, which was at 2 degrees of Libra. This new moon is setting the stage for us for this month ahead until the next new moon on the 25th of October. So look at your chart, look at your kids' chart, and see where this new moon is falling for you. What house, what planets or aspects may be forming for you, because that's going to tell you, okay, if this is happening in my 7th house, I'm going to have a lot of themes coming up around relationships and listening and the other. And the same with your kids. It kind of gives you this forewarning of what to expect, what your soul might be bringing to you or to your children to be further looked at. Now, this new moon, this is going to be bringing new beginnings with that Libra equinox energy that we just had on the 22nd, 23rd, depending on where you live in the world, of course. And this is themes around fairness, harmony, balance, justice, relationships. How are you being in partnership with the other? But this particular new moon also has focuses on the mind. A lot of Mercury energy right now. This new moon in Libra is being ruled by Venus, who's hanging out in Virgo right now. So what does any of that mean? So you or your kids can have a very analytical mind at this time, more so than usual, really heightened, very scrutinizing. This can also be very within and withdrawn. Sorry, someone's car alarm just went off. This is definitely not Yellowstone, where the company I was keeping was, bison, elk, ravens calling at me. But yeah. So this can be a very withdrawn, reflective moment because Mercury is currently in retrograde, also in Virgo, conjunct Venus right there. So really mentally reflective time. You and your kids might also be having this back and forth energy, this tension of wanting to be social and have collaboration, and yet really want to go within and not actually go out there. So again, a period of seeing all the imperfections Virgo is very good at seeing it what's not perfect, scrutinizing the things that aren't working, and just being really unhappy about it. And this energy of wanting a trial and error, see what works, try to make it better, have things be perfect. So your kids could be kind of reflecting that to you. They could be very scrutinizing right now of you or your partner, your parenting. They may be really not liking it and telling you all the reasons why it's not working. Or maybe telling you all the reasons why school is not working, or having conflict with classmates and that collaboration not working right. Like it's not quite, there's things that aren't fitting, and they're aware of that. So, and I will also say for you as well, parents, you could be very scrutinizing of yourself as a parent, how you are parenting. You might even be having feelings about not being a good enough mom or dad because you're only getting, 10 things done off your list and not the 20 that are there. And so you can just be really digging down and being very mentally hard on yourself. Or hard on your children because they're only hitting 10 things of what you want them to do every day instead of the 20. So just again, like have an awareness that that's this energy that's happening at this end of September and into October. This awareness is the key. So if your kids are maybe being critical, or I should say kids, I say kids a lot because mine are still kids, but wow, if you have teenagers right now, let me know if you're feeling this energy. If they are being very scrutinizing to you and what they don't like and what they don't think is fair or just, all right? So what can you do? How can you move into a more space of listening, this more collaboration? I would, sit with them and listen. Like really take the advice of Libra herself and listen. Sit down and hear what your child, your teenager, your partner has to say. And ask questions. So like maybe there's somebody at school that your children don't like. Ask them why. Ask them if they're saying, I don't like it when you yell at me when I don't do my homework, or I don't put the bowl in the dishwasher when I'm done with it. Anybody have a kid that does that? Ask them how they feel. How do they feel when you do get mad and you yell at them when they don't, or what about school itself isn't working for them? So it's like you are asking questions to further understand, and then you're getting the details. Mercury, this Virgo energy, really loves the details because then it's about taking those details and okay, I'm going to do this a little alchemical process and take this piece and burn it down, see what I have here, try this, try that. Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, let's try again. You are experimenting. You're trying for something new. You're trying to come up with a whole new process, procedure, new way of organizing. So with all things of Libra, that Venus-Venusian energy, how can you meet this with love? How can you meet this with listening and just better collaboration? And I will say as well that this is not about not having boundaries with your children and your teenagers. Again, it's about refining, reorganizing a new way, if this is about your relationship with them, a new way of being together in relationship. A new way that you both can come up with a new process, like a negotiation back and forth. We're not talking perfection. Okay, there is no perfect in life, so we're not going for that. We're just trying to go for a little bit more balance, a little bit better in our process. Clearing energy. And I will also add in as well that nature is never in balance. If you think about it, we only have balance of light and day twice a year at the equinoxes. And then there's no balance. So it's not perfection, all right? But it's moving forward and listening. This new moon can also be bringing up energies that are really not comfortable. Think of it kind of like an itchy sweater. Like it doesn't feel good. It's like, ugh, something right there is bugging me and I just can't get comfortable. That's that Virgo energy coming in. So you can see that as well when it comes to ideals and fantasy. So like, what is fantasy and what is the actual lived reality around beauty, perfection, ideals, like the human body, how the human body needs to look to be considered beautiful. Okay, all that energy is really up right now, especially when we've got Jupiter there as well, opposite at this new moon. So you may be working towards perfection, but you're not trying to hit it, because if you hold that idea, you're just going to get disappointed and let down. Also with the older kids and teenagers, I get a sense again that this body image, especially as well as around sexuality and desires, I feel like it's going to be very strong, very expansive in that. So if you have someone in your life, and it could be yourself as well, that are really struggling with that, try and be that place of balance for the people in your life, that place of calm. Be someone who can teach that perfection isn't real, that the beautiful picture on the cover of magazine is not real, but it is fantasy. That is a photoshopped model, okay? She's got the whole makeup stuff on, but then the computer goes in and does their magic, along with a team of chefs cooking a meal that's exactly balanced, and then a whole bunch of housekeepers, right, taking care of things. So all they have to do is focus on being beautiful or looking incredibly fit. So that's kind of what I mean. Like, really be that pillar, be that strength and that center of calm to teach and guide your kids, your teenagers, however that might show up for them. Also as well, don't be surprised if they are really pushing for their individuality and freedom at this time. This is a huge theme right now. If you haven't seen it yet, please check out my Kids Going Against the Grain video. I did a whole video on that about kids saying, no, that's not the way I'm going to do things. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it differently. Like, pushing boundaries is in the astrology. We see that with that Saturn square Uranus. Saturn is also square the moon's nodes. And we have Jupiter there, retrograde in Aries. And Aries is all about individuality and freedom, open roads. So if your kids are pushing for that, again, take that position of listening. Find out why, and how can the two of you come up with a new balance, a negotiation. What are your concerns about this? What are their wants and desires and needs? How can you better meet in the middle? That's the energy, and if you can meet that, you're going to avoid a lot more headache than if you held to the resistance and really kind of dug your heels into the old way of doing things. As I've been alluding to, the old ways of doing things, they're really changing right now. And they will be forced into changing if we can't, again, meet them. So how can you better meet your children in a new relationship, a new partnership together? And I'll also add that as parents, you, myself included, we all have unconscious expectations around parenting. Whole across the board, we have unconscious expectations. And so this invitation for you is to really dig in and discover and uncover what those are. How should your kids behave? Where should they go to school and then to college? Expectations for the way things in life should be. And like us having this unconscious reactionary triggers when things don't go to our expectations. So what I'm referring to here is things that are really under the surface. They're under the water of that iceberg. And gosh, like there's so many examples I can't think of any off the top of my head. Yeah, like it's just like you can have this expectation that you want your children to succeed and to do well in life. So you're like, okay, they are going to go to this preschool that they have to, apply and get into. And then they're going to go to this elementary school and then this high school. And that is going to set them up for college. Maybe we'll do the 2-year. Maybe we'll just go straight for the 4. A very rigid, this is the way things are done. You could have this unconscious belief that your children should always be in at least one extracurricular activity. So after they're done with school, they're going and they're playing softball, which is what I did, or they're doing martial arts or whatever it is. They have to be doing something. That's not to say that for each of those examples that I gave, that there's not good reasons attached to that, but why are they there? Where are they coming from? What is the driving force behind this belief that your child always has to be doing a sport of some kind? Like, why is there no space for what if your kids don't want to play sports? Or maybe they're not good at sports and they feel like they get made fun of and they don't like it. Or what if they really just struggle with the way their body's built and it's not a very athletic body? Or maybe they just want to go and relax after school and go play. Because being in school for 8 hours a day was actually really hard and draining on them. So that's kind of what I mean of what's under the surface. What is the unconscious expectation that you're having on your children and on yourself right now? I mentioned earlier about being perfect around parenting and not being good enough. Those little beliefs right there are also coming from these unconscious patterns and stories that we have. Really use these energies to go in there and look at them, because it's a real opportunity to heal these, to clear them, to transform them. Because when we see what is in the unconscious, that is what we can then make that healing shift to change it. Because if we can't see it, we would never know it's there. And it will keep repeating. And our soul will be like, no, there's this thing that I really want you to heal, maybe around body image. So I'm going to keep bringing these experiences to you and these people to you that are going to trigger this unconscious reaction you're having until you get to the point and figure it out of what needs to be healed. So I'm specifically mentioning this because we have Pluto being trine to the sun and moon at this new moon. So I feel it's going to be very highlighted energy for us as parents and caregivers. I also believe that's going to be really important, as I mentioned, with kids going against the grain on that video, for us to support our kids who have come in to be part of this wave of change in our world. We have to do our part. Like, if we want to help them bring in this new way and these systems and structures, like, we have to take care of our own stuff first. We have to be more healed as individuals, so then we can really go and hold those pillars and be that support for them. So that's why I have that sense that we're going to be challenged with that. Really challenged to let go of our unconscious beliefs at this time. And like always, if that's not something you're necessarily willing and wanting to do, don't be surprised if your kids are really going to be pushing you to make that change through behaviors, actions, just even through synchronistic events from the universe. Don't be surprised that you're going to get nudged to make these changes happen, especially as we go more into the rest of this year and really getting into these eclipse energies. And it's not all just going to be really hard, okay? I just want to say that as well. We have Saturn here is actually going to be helping us. Saturn's going to be trying to Mars in Gemini. So there's going to be this, Saturn's going to be helping us with some discipline around our focus and our energy and what we are building. New systems, new structures, communities, especially if you are someone who's really willing to go and do it differently. Sorry, my son's ready to go outside. So, do it differently. Go experiment. Just that Saturn in Aquarius. Be objective, trial and error. Like, that's what Saturn is really wanting to do. It may not necessarily be easy to build it because Saturn makes us work for it. But that's because we're building for the long term here. If you've been feeling, or your kids have been feeling just no motivation right now, this energy could be a really nice push to help you or them out. Maybe it's building in that new community, or maybe even making strides to make one that is better and more supportive for the child that you have. This is also potentially going to be a very confusing time, okay? Just imagination, fantasy, information coming at us from all directions, very mental, so delusion, very scattered. So be mindful. If your kids are struggling with that, and they're really having a hard time paying attention in school, just for example, because most kids are back in school, know that that's part of the astrology. And then if you have kids who just have extra other abilities, where they really struggle to focus, and they might be needing to move their bodies more than ever right now to help them get that focus. So again, know what's coming and have ideas and plans for what you can do as they arise. And how does this information feel in your body or your child's body? Really start to tune in to your body and what it's telling you at this time, and start teaching your children to do the same. Although I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually a lot better at doing that, tuning into their body, than you are. So you may want to be learning from them in this situation. But pay attention. Do you have a real tight feeling in your gut? or there's something that's just not sitting right with you when you heard this thing on the news or someone said, like that kind of thing. Pay attention, because your soul is speaking to you through your body. That's that Mars energy. And this is also a time to really be looking at our dreams, romances, spiritual connections, and are we embodying that energy? Like, are we truly? And I'm bringing this up because, as I said, there's going to be a lot of confusion and uncertainty in astrology for October. So definitely around the news and media, social media, information being given to us by that top-down authority. And our kids aren't immune to this, especially the ones that are sensitive. So don't be surprised if you notice them really picking up on this, on that information. And they also might be having for you a clarity of what's not working. And so be mindful of your heart. That's going to be a huge key to move through a lot of this, is this heart energy. Can you hold unconditional love for everyone around you, for yourself? How are you feeling towards yourself, speaking to yourself? I mentioned this is a really great time to come up with new processes, that like you are a good enough parent. In fact, you're amazing. You may not be perfect and you don't need to be. So yeah, like just again, shifting these beliefs, these internal thoughts. Focus on how you're loving yourself, forgiving yourself right now, especially as a parent. When we're done with the beating ourselves up because we're not a good enough parent. We are actually doing the best that we can with the information, the time and space, the knowledge that we have. Take time out to relax a little bit. Go lay down on the couch or read a book. And you know what? It's also okay if when you're doing that, you are on your phone checking Facebook or YouTube, and I hope you're watching me on YouTube. But whatever it is, when you start to sense that shame and that guilt coming in, that like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, I'm a bad parent for doing this, I'm a bad person, like, catch yourself at that. Redirect those thoughts, put new thoughts down. Neuroplasticity, rewiring, okay? And do the same for your kids. Like if you see them on their iPads, maybe when you'd rather be them out playing all day, except they're like, I was just at school and it was a really hard day, I just need to chill out. Let them, okay? So it's the same. This old, outdated expectations and obligations, we're here to break them down right now. All those impossible standards societies put on our shoulders as parents, throw them out the window. This is a time to really align to ourselves, to our hearts, and to our kids. So pay attention to those kinds of programming, because they will be coming up for a review for a reason. And are you willing to dissolve them? Can you allow for them to dissolve? This is also reflected in other astrology systems. The day that I'm filming this, on the 25th, is the white cosmic dog energy of the galactic Mayan calendar, which is all about love in the heart, moving beyond codependency and being a doormat into just this deeper unconditional love. So this dream spell calendar is asking you, can you lighten your load? Can you clear some of that out? Can you come into more joy? What is your joy? That's a question this North Node in Taurus is asking us. What is it that you love and enjoy and find tasty? And how can you find your way back to that. Oh, because parents, yes, you do deserve joy too. You matter too. This is not just self-sacrificing and being a martyr anymore. That's that distorted Pisces age beliefs. We're leaving those behind and we're coming into something new. New ways, new processes, new pace of being in the world. And that's going to line up and line for each of us, each of our kids, in their own unique ways, because we are all different. And Saturn, mentioned him already, but Saturn's going to be pushing us to consciously integrate these lessons. So I think bringing in this joy element from the dream spell calendar is really helpful, because it's not all just about hard work and suffering. We are reaching for and bringing in our own joy and trying to find a new way of doing life where there is joy. And it's not just hard work and suffering right now. But if you couldn't tell, this is a time to go deep. We're going to be going into the depths all through October with these eclipses, that South Node Scorpio eclipse. Like, pay attention to what's coming to the surface in our society, in our orientation with each other in society, especially around being a parent, especially around being a child. Our modern society, in my opinion, is not so great to our children. We are holding on to some really old, outdated beliefs about kids. Kids should be seen and not heard. This idea of really not allowing them time and space to go play. In fact, if you're someone who's just like, no, I want my kids to play as much as possible. Many people have probably looked at you like you're a little crazy and you're out there and doing things so differently, because we've been removed from play. And yet when you look at our anthropology, when you look at other mammals, like, they learn through play. So play is the learning of children, and can we find our way back to that? And I would say too, play is also the learning of adults, and can we find our way back to that? And I would say too, we've been so focused in our society about being productive, being successful, making money and having the house, all the things that we need so we can afford to live, to pay this cost of living on this planet at this time. But is that all you want for your kids? Like, if you really sit and ask yourself, what do you want for your children? Or why did you even have children? Like, what are your hopes and dreams for them? I would be really surprised if something like, I want them to be happy, isn't on your list. And yet, how much of our lives are set up so our kids could actually be happy, to be in joy, to be doing what they love, to be doing what they love for a career when they grow up. So again, like, this is a time of listening to your unconscious and what's speaking to you, especially as a parent, since this video is about parents and kids. What do you truly value and why? What do you actually want for your child? And are you living your life that's actually in alignment with that? Or do we need to make some changes? And I mean, honestly, I don't know what parent doesn't need to make some changes, even me. It is this learning, growing journey that we are on. And I will say too, it's because it's also never been done before. So much of what I'm speaking of, our parents and grandparents and ancestors didn't have the space and the knowledge for this. and yet we do. So can we meet this moment and make it better for our kids? And is there somewhere in your life as a parent, again, like where this energy, it needs to change, and shift needs to happen, a transformation needs to take place. Again, where do you need to shift to be in alignment with what you value for your children? And beautiful with this astrology is that's actually going to be much clearer for us to see. And then that, of course, comes back as that choice to us. Do we choose to integrate these truths and to build something new and different, better? And so my question to you is, will you? You don't have to do it perfectly, right? Because we're not doing perfect. But are you willing to try? And are you willing to fall down a few times? I know I've certainly fallen down more than a few times on my journey so far as a parent. October is going to be a very fast month with a lot of speedy energy. So parents, really stay centered. Mercury, very active, very highlighted this month. Mercury is going to be stationing opposite from Neptune on October 1st, going direct on the 2nd, which is also highlighting that square between Saturn and Uranus. So, will you be able to see without those rose-colored glasses dreams and ideals, and of course reality, and how far that reality actually is? So don't be surprised if you or your child can really see each other very clearly around that time. Not seeing this child that you've dreamed that you'd have, the one who follows all the rules, who puts her dishes in the dishwasher, who, hits all those expectation boxes. I will say as well, this could be the same way you might have had to behave as a child, because that's what you needed to do to survive. So through our children, we're going to have this mirrored opportunity to actually heal our own inner children who weren't allowed to let their hair loose a little bit and go wild and go play. Where you as a child, you might not have been seen for who you really were. You were only seen for the masks that you had to wear and the parts and roles that you needed to play to meet those expectations. So as you see your child for who they really are and hold space for that, see if you can do the same for yourself and your inner child. You might find as well that this Mercury going direct, you're going to have a lot of energy of clarity, and to really sit down and strategize, to plan out process schedules like, this is where I want to go. Reality is here, so you're going to be able to see the map better of how to get from there to there. Clearing energy. So yeah, like that's going to be at play, and that might help you out a bit. Very highlighted, as I've been saying, around self, individuality, versus others, being in relationships. How can we still be individuals while being in the group? And how do we find that balance? Can we see and listen to other individuals who might have different values and opinions, diversity of beliefs that's not our own? So again, like really about true freedom. Even if we are different, like how can we have a new harmony, a new balance around that? Don't be surprised about your kids really coming through with what they've been reflecting during this Mercury retrograde period time. For example, I was at the pool this week with my kids, and Kate shared with me, I was really surprised because she said to me that someone else, she couldn't remember their name, said to her, I think your mom is cheating on your dad, which totally took me by surprise. Like, I was like, what? And this is a family that, like, I don't even know who this kid is. Kate doesn't even know who they are. So I was able to, like, so again, it's like she finally found the words to share this with me because she didn't have them before. And she doesn't even understand what cheating is at this level that I'm speaking of. Like, cheating for her is, when Eric jumps out of the pool, instead of swimming to the end during the race, he runs to the end. Like, that's the kind of cheating that she's aware of. So, even just kind of helping her and guiding her with this idea of projection that other kids may be saying to each other, and telling her, it's like, I think if someone said that to you about me, I think there's someone in their life who's actually doing that, and they're trying to shift that hurt onto you, because it's really hard and really painful, and they're trying to deal with it in the only way that they know how. So kind of be aware that some of that kind of stuff might be coming up for you. Okay. And again, we've got that Scorpio, South Node going through Scorpio. So, like, this is all the things that are really uncomfortable, icky, swept under the rug. We don't want to look there. All the shadow stuff is going to be coming up. So, heads up, you might be getting questions like that for you in your life, that may have nothing at all to do with you, and yet it's a reflection of other people around you or your child that's bringing this to attention. So we have a lot of energy around Venus. Venus is really highlighted. Venus in Libra, she's going to be moving into Libra early October, and she wants this equality, justice, harmony, what's fair and right, being in collaboration, just mutually supportive, mutually giving and receiving. That's Libra. And then we've got this square between Saturn and Uranus. So we can't get to what Libra wants, equality, fairness, justice, till we break down, break through what is actually standing in the way of that equality, harmony, fairness, collaboration, this ability to listen to the other. Okay, so this Saturn energy, Saturn Uranus, top-down authority, pressure, control, restriction, instead of this authority coming from the ground up. This is old versus new, freedom versus control. I've talked so much about these energies. Again, if you want to know more, check out that other video I mentioned with kids going against the grain. If you want a more world-focused view on what that can mean, and what's coming up with that, go check out the live video that I did about these October energies, because that's going to be more focused on that. This is more parenting and kids. So, if you have a very authoritarian, top-down approach to your parenting style, or perhaps it's the school that you send your kids to, or maybe your son or daughter has a partner who is embodying of that kind of energy, just know that is going to be very highlighted and a lot of tension building, okay? Uranus is the planet of revolution. It's the future, it's the unknown. It wants to break free, and Saturn's been really holding it down. So think of it like a spring, like this whole 2021, 2022, it's this pressure, pushing, and we're getting to that point of springing forward and breaking through, breaking things down so we can break through. So, yeah, and let me just tell you a kid story. So, you know, like you could have a school that you send your kids to where you have to wear a uniform, you have to look a certain way, your skirt, ladies, can only go to a certain height or you get a detention. I don't know if they still call them detentions. Very rules, very restrictive. This is the way things are done. You know, I don't know what teenager doesn't have their rebellious streak in them. But I was wearing my shorts with my blue uniform and my navy blue uniform. And I was like, I'm going to wear softball socks with this, with the blue stripe, because it looks really cool. And I'm going to wear it up to just under my knee. And I'm going to walk around school doing that because I was being in my individuality within this rules of I have to wear this uniform and look a certain way. And I totally had the principal come up to me and tell me that I couldn't do that. I mean, like, why not? I'm pretty darn sure there was actually no rules in that handbook about the length of socks. There was a length of skirt, and you better believe the vice principal went around with the ruler measuring the ladies' skirts and shorts. Got attention for the shorts too. But yeah, I was told that I couldn't wear those socks and I had to pull them down. Like, why? Why can't I be even a little bit of an individual? So like that kind of restriction, like you better believe kids are going to be really pushing through that, okay? So expect your kids to be, to really be busting out their rainbow colored fluorescent socks right now, okay? And because Uranus is breaking down these structures. This society that's been holding us back from our true potential. Like this is this economic, financial breakdown. We're starting to see it. And I'm sure you're starting to feel it. This tension, and I bet your kids are feeling it too. So Saturn's going to be stationing direct at the end of October. It's going to be in that tight square, but still not as exact as it will be at the beginning of the month. This has been a very defining energy, 2022. This is about the structure of consciousness and how our society has defined it and organized life for thousands of years. It's changing. So the structure and rules around being a parent and what that looks like is changing. The structures and rules of what it means to be a kid is changing, and it should. So again, this breakdown to break through. Where have we been limited and really held back from freeing ourselves from that oppressive energy, just feeling like we're trapped, held down? Where have you felt that in your life as a child? Were you allowed to shine with your true light? Or did you have to wear 10 different masks or 100 just to survive and get into adulthood? And now those masks you're wearing are new masks. Like you're now wearing a new parenting mask to go to your school's, PTA board or whatever. Like, that's kind of what I'm talking about. It feels like this is probably going to be like this dual experience. How as you meet your child and how they're feeling, and you start creating this new parenting experience relationship together, you're going to have the opportunity to heal your inner child and to wear those rainbow colored socks if you want to. Really let go and play. So this is not the time to resist that. However it may show up for you and your kids, your teenagers, meet whatever growing frustration is happening for you and for them, and ask, what can I do? How can I experiment? How can we try something new and different and just see what happens? To really go against the grain as a parent, go off the traditional paths and find the one that works for you and the children that you have. the family that you have. I'll also share as well, if you haven't seen it yet, please check out the autumn equinox intuitive reading that I did for parents and kids. Because I'm really feeling this energy of parents knowing they can't go back to the way that life was, the way things were, and being too afraid to push forward into the new because the new is still unknown. And you may not have the support and the community around you to do and go into the new. So check that out if you find that you're in that energy. But regardless, like, it's our kids who will be the ones to push us forward and to break in this new ground. You may be feeling hopeless, that nothing will change, that the decks are stacked against you. I'm here to say that it will change. And I do have a lot of hope because I see it in the children. These children, oh my gosh, like, they're here to bring big changes. And that's the kind of energy I'm speaking to, this revolutionary energy, this rising up to force the change to happen so our lives can be more humanitarian focused. That's all this Uranus energy. So the antidote, the medicine for this moment in time is to tune into this North Node of Taurus. What is your pace, your way of doing things, slowness? What do you enjoy? What do you love? Connect to the earth. Focus on local right now. Grow your own food. Really, 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 really tune into nature and nature's cycles. We need to do this hard work right now so we don't leave it up for our children and their children to do. And to finally, just to add in a little bit more, I know this has been a very jam-packed video, but I just wanted you to have the heads up on these energies. I've been mentioning the Scorpio lunar eclipse on the 25th. We're also going to have Pluto opposite to Black Moon Lilith in Cancer at that time. That means there's a lot coming up around all things Venus, around the feminine. So this is a real transformational opportunity. And with Pluto being there, it's like, ooh, Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. Like, I don't expect this to be comfortable. I don't expect it to be easy. Shining a light into the darkness and seeing everything that's there, it's not fun. It's not enjoyable. And yet it is through this that we have this opportunity to transform, to change. And I feel like that's going to really come through a lot around this feminine energy, around mother, matrilineal wisdom, feminine wisdom, motion, safe space. So it's all kind of in this soup and this energy at this moment in time. Don't be afraid to go really deep and reflect at this time, and do so alongside your children. As I was saying, if you need support in this, please know that you're not alone. Send me a message if you would like a birth chart reading done for you or your children, or you just need some guidance on how the heck do I step off this traditional path and go into a whole new direction. Like, you're like, I'm lost, I have no idea what to do. Please, please, please reach out, because even though only you can walk through this, only you can walk your path, you do not have to do it alone. So send me a message. And please, please like and subscribe, and let's get this video out there to more parents who are conscious like you, who are wanting to grow and change and meet your children in these new relationships and these new ways of being together. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.